Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Dan here, and today we're going to talk about all things drop shock. What is drop shock? How can we prevent it from happening, and how can we manage it if it does happen? Stay tuned. Pretty amazing feeling knowing that I'm the only person up here. Within hundreds of miles. Huge peaks around me. Does it feel horrible? Does it feel nervous? Definitely not. So guys, what is drop shock? Well, drop shock is a term used, it's basically panic. When you get dropped off in a wilderness environment or somewhere where is extremely unfamiliar to you, you just go into a state of panic and you just break down, especially for a solo traveller, more so. They haven't really thought about that side of it. It's just, the whole environment is just too overwhelming. You know, there might be some huge jagged peaks all around them. There might be, you know, rough weather coming in, and it's just all too much. They break down and then they have to call for help. You might have seen this on various reality shows, and that's been one of the biggest failures for lots of contestants is drop shock. They just haven't prepared for that. They've got all the equipment and everything like that, got all good clothing, but they haven't thought about the mindset side of it. So that's what we're going to talk about. And I can relate a lot of this back to my recent trip in the Yukon last summer. So we don't want to go into a state of panic. When that plane leaves, when it takes off, you want to be fully and mentally prepared for what's coming next. You want to have a plan in place first of all. So that's what I would say. But let's backtrack a little bit. Before you even get there, you want to be thinking about that feeling when that plane leaves. That's one of the biggest things I thought about. You know, there's lots of dangers out there, especially in Canada. You know, the river would be a huge danger. Bears, you know, the environment. But one of the biggest things I thought about was drop shock. I wanted a good headspace before I started the trip. So I was very conscious of it. So I mentally prepared. This is how I sort of dealt with it. I mentally visualized, which is a technique I'd still use now throughout my life, is visualizing how I'm going to react in that situation. How am I going to feel when that plane takes off? Am I going to freak out and burst into tears? Ideally not. So I was adamant that wasn't going to happen. So you flip it. You know, this is going to feel like the most happiest time of my life. When that plane leaves, despite the weather or anything like that, this is the start of the trip, and it's a good thing. It's a good feeling. So first of all, I want to sort of instill that thought process that when that plane leaves, it's a happy feeling. It's going to be good. No matter what, it's a positive thing when the plane leaves. So I was visualizing me being happy when the plane left. So many times when I was at home, I was almost dreaming about it, of that moment. And I kind of, I guess, instilled it in my head that that's how it was going to be. So, you know, visualization, guys, I cannot, you know, say this enough. It's such a powerful thing in everything we do. So first of all, visualize, you know, prepare for that. You're not going to get drop shock. What else? Well, you visualize that good feeling of the plane going, or that boat leaving, or the car leaving, whatever it may be. The next thing you need to do is keep busy, keep the mind busy. You don't want to be sitting around going, right, what do I do? Okay, I'm going to pick my bags up and no, you need a plan. So my plan was, once that plane goes, I had an inflatable boat. You know, I was going to inflate that, put all my bags together, and then start the portage. So that was a walk with my canoe and my kit to the river. So there's my first few jobs straight away. So I was keeping my mind active, just getting sorted and getting ready, and I was straight into it. Don't give yourself a chance to even dwell on things. Just get on with it, get on with the job, and you keep your mind occupied. So I got on with the portage and off I went. And to be honest, I was so happy just to sort of get the expedition started, and the plane left, you know, and I was happy. I was really, really happy. And it's everybody's sort of biggest question is, Dan, you know, were you not alone? Were you not scared? You know, how did you feel when that plane left? But it was all down to preparation and in, you know, wanting to do the challenge as well. I think a lot of these people may have chosen this expedition on a whim, you know, not really thought about it, maybe plucked from the city, and then, you know, yeah, you've got like a week to prep and then you're out there. Whereas I was visualizing this for 2 years and I wanted to go there. So that's how I dealt with drop shock. As the days went on, another question people give me is, you know, we're not getting lonely by yourself. Again, I have a set plan in my head. I'm going to be on the river for maximum 14 days. You know, I've got my GPS for communication with people. I can text whenever I need to, and I've got the sat phone just in case. So those two means of communication is a backup. But I never got lonely, not one little bit. Yeah. So mindset is a huge thing, and you need to get the mindset right before you go into a wilderness environment. So another moment where it was quite nerve-wracking was actually on the plane journey out there to the drop-off point, out to Porter Lake. It was it was about an hour and 55 flight, you know, just me on the plane and the pilot and Owen, and I was trying my very best to enjoy the terrain below and take pictures, but you cannot stop that feeling of nerves sort of creeping in, and you kind of that, you know what's coming, you know you're going to get dropped off. And you also get other feelings as well at the start of these expeditions are, you know, feelings of, you know, unsureness, of guilt, leaving your family. All of these feelings come through, and I was kind of ready for this because I got this on the last challenge. It's all part of it, and I guess that can all add to that drop shock when that plane goes, because it all gets, you're building it up on the plane journey. When the plane lands, the plane takes off, and you just think, oh God, what have I done? You know, this is a stupid thing to do. So, you know, I was almost ready for those thoughts and feelings as well that were sort of waving over me as that plane journey went to that drop-off point. Again, reinforce, why am I doing this challenge? You know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm only going to be away for a few weeks. I'll never ever get to come here again, so let's just cherish the moment. All of those sort of reinforcing factors that you can keep telling yourself, just to sort of help that drop-off point be a bit easier. Typically on my expeditions, I'll spend about a year in planning, on and off, and it drives my family crazy, but I get absorbed in the expedition, that I know that every single thing is dialed in, that, you know, there's no rock unturned. So preparation is key. I'd lay all my kit out, you know, check it all off, and it just helps you being organised. So a few key things to think about then if you're going to plan a wilderness expedition, an extreme one, or something a bit more close to home. I thought about the things that can cause me real danger, that can kill me pretty much. You know, one is the weather, two, the river, the environment, bears, and mindset. So there's 5 things, and I sat and looked at each one of them, and I had a mitigation plan for each one of those things that can help me not get in that situation, if that makes sense. So the mindset one, you know, drop shock, let's not let that happen. Mentioned that at the start of the video. Mentally prepare yourself, visualization, plan, make sure you've got all your stuff ready, and prep yourself with jobs soon as that plane takes off. The environment, you know, my kit is top notch. All of my kit that I'm wearing, that I've got spares, and it's all waterproof 3 times, that's all on point. That makes you feel confident in yourself anyway. The river, you know, just try and not be a lunatic and going down rapids that you haven't scouted. You know, be super safe on the river. Make sure you can portage any of the rapids on the trip. Make sure there's no hidden nasties. You know, research the whole river like I did, and I had to hunt out a lot of different people, but I found them all over the globe who had paddled this river, and there's not many. And they gave me maps and told me about certain rapids, and that all gives you confidence. And there's no reason why you can't do a solo wilderness trip. You just have to be super prepared and do your homework. So I hope that clears up the whole, mainly the drop shock thing. I went into a bit more about expedition planning there. That'll be for future videos. But the biggest thing to deal with drop shock is, you know, make sure you want to be there in the first place. Visualize that feeling of the plane going and get on with jobs. That'll stop that drop shock from creeping in. And if it does creep in later on, then keep yourself busy, remind yourself why you're there. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, folks. I'd love to answer any questions you've got. If you've ever experienced drop shock, I'd love to know how it felt, or you've been near it, or you know anybody who has experienced it. Please let me know in the comments. And as always, please like and share. Let's help this channel grow, and we've got more cool stuff to come. Keep adventuring, guys, and see you soon.